Hi guys, this is Ellie with Flow Moonlight Tarot 20, and I was channeling a song for I don't know how many days now, and this is how my spirit team communicates with me often. There's the lyrics of a song that keep repeating in my head. It's usually just one line. And the song I've been channeling for the last few days is Broken Heart by White Lion. Now, the lyrics that keep coming up are: there is life after a broken heart. You can't fight the pain of a broken heart. So I feel like that this is going to resonate with someone who's listening to this reading at this time. Now, this is not a reading. Now, I pulled these cards only to have you something to look at as I'm talking, because I sat for hours today and I channeled a message for you if you are grieving. And everything that I've written down, I have experienced personally. So this is not coming from someone who doesn't know what she's talking about. So this heartbreak doesn't have to be romantic. It can be any kind of loss. It can be compound grief when you lose more than one person you love in a short span of time, either through death or estrangement or a breakup. Often the impact of the loss is so shocking, so disorienting, often unexpected, and absolutely brutal, not only emotionally, but physically and mentally, that we try to distract ourselves, keeping overly busy rather than sitting with and facing this grief. Of course, eventually there will come a time when you're forced by circumstances to sit still. This is when all the unprocessed emotions come to the surface to be seen, felt, acknowledged, and accepted as part of you, part of your story, part of your journey. Finally, these emotions will ask for you to release them, to cry, scream, rant, punch a pillow, whatever it takes to relieve the emotional pressure that comes up. And this is not a one-time event, a quick fix, and you're done with the grieving. I'm always amazed at the people who think that just because a long time has passed since the initial loss occurred, you should be over it by now, and I wonder if they have ever lost someone they love dearly. Some losses you will never get over. You can only learn to live your life to the fullest in spite of lingering sadness that this person you love is not there to share it with you. What some people also don't understand is the ambiguous loss of an estrangement, particularly, as in my case, the estrangement from an adult child. Parents whose adult child has decided to cut them off have a particular hard time because there is shame and quite often blame put upon them by the people in their surroundings. Many parents who did their best and made many sacrifices for their kids, who were not abusive in any way, who loved their children dearly, are labeled as toxic by a generation of young adults listening to TikTok therapists who praise them as being strong for cutting off loving parents, all because these parents had the audacity to be human and were not perfect. Often parents are cut off simply because they put up boundaries with their adult children, who feel that their parents are still responsible for taking care of them, even though they are now old enough and capable to take care of themselves. I'm not talking about abusive parents here, I'm talking about loving parents. Often these adult children don't even give a specific reason for cutting their parents off. In my case, it was, you should know what you did. And after years of racking my brain, I still cannot come up with a single thing I ever said or did that warranted my only child walking away from me and cutting off all contact. Do I think there was influence by toxic people around them? Yes, absolutely. But it was still his decision and a choice he's been sticking to for many years now. This kind of loss is not only devastating, it's also a loss where there is never any closure because this person did not die. They are still alive. It's hard to let go when there's still a lingering flicker of hope that one day they may return to reconcile though with each month or year that hope fades more and more. One day you may look back and realize that so much time has gone by now that the chances of them coming back are slim to none. And when that happens, you may decide it's best for your own sanity and best for your own well-being. In order for you to finally move on with your life, you have to let that hope die and that child be buried in your heart. It's like having a funeral for them in your mind and heart, as morbid as that may sound. This is the final act of letting go so you can stop attaching to the outcome of reconciliation that constantly disappoints and re-traumatizes you. I don't know if people understand how heartbreaking it is, especially on holidays, knowing your child is likely celebrating with others and probably doesn't even waste a single thought for the parents who miss them dearly. If you are listening to this and you do not have children, this may be hard for you to understand. I can only compare this feeling of grief to being in separation from a romantic partner you are still in love with, who is already in another romantic relationship. Imagine the pain of sitting alone at home while imagining the wonderful life your person is having with another, probably not even sparing you a single thought while you are pining for them. Yeah, think about that one. The impact grief has on the body is profound, but not understood by society. Otherwise, employees would be afforded more than just 3 days or whatever limited time is allotted and allowed someone to grieve before being expected to return to work as if nothing life-altering had occurred. And there is no time for parents grieving a child who walked away or someone grieving the end of a romantic relationship. What can you do when grief overcomes you out of the blue, at random times, especially when you thought you had dealt with the worst of it? What do you do when your mind replays past events, your thoughts start spiraling, and your heart breaks all over again? It's so easy to try to distract yourself with going back to filling your days with so many activities that you just don't have the time to sit and ruminate. Some people turn to addictions, such as drugs, alcohol, sex, and some people become workaholics. And these are trauma responses, and all they do is push down the feeling of grief, pain, and anger. They are only temporarily buried, though, because they always resurface no matter how much time passes until they have been processed. And processing, as I've mentioned before, requires sitting in silence and allowing yourself to feel whatever is coming up to be felt and to release these emotions through tears or however you feel you need to release them. Don't only grieve for who you lost, but also for you and the life you thought you would have that has been denied to you. Grieve for the time you don't get to have with this person. Grieve the person you were before this heartbreak shattered you into pieces, and for the new person emerging, who's trying to put all these pieces back together again, but is forever changed. Even though at times it feels like there will never again be joy in your life, don't be discouraged. Allow yourself the time and grace to feel and release whatever comes up whenever it does, and this may happen as often as required until you start to heal. And eventually you will start to feel your inner strength and will to live come back. Allow yourself to accept support from the people around you who love and care about you, even though there may be times when you feel like they must be getting tired of always comforting you. Hyper-independence, as in my case, unfortunately can set in when you feel like you're becoming a burden to the people around you as you grieve, especially when it takes a long time to process what's happened to you. Sometimes certain people are not very understanding of what you're going through. However, when help is offered, don't discount it and don't feel like you are taking advantage. You're genuinely in the process of becoming a new person and learning to live a new life without someone you love dearly. You're coping with heavy trauma that may take years to heal if it ever does. Be patient with yourself and the people around you who may not understand the scope of what you are facing. It's important to find ways of falling in love with your life again after grief. Stop punishing yourself with feelings of guilt for wanting to move on and find happiness, comfort, and joy again. You are just as deserving as everyone else on this planet to feel fulfilled and have the life you wish for. Take small steps. Start by paying attention to your surroundings again. Go for a walk and pay attention to what you see and hear. Appreciate the fresh air, nature, the sun's warmth on your skin, birds singing. Listen to music that soothes and warms your heart. Let lyrics speak to you. Start enjoying the taste, smell, and texture of food again. Light a candle while you eat and become focused on each bite without other distractions. Nurture yourself as you would a loved one who is ailing. Be gentle with yourself. Be patient and kind to your body. Take long bubble baths or showers. Give your body extra sleep and rest while you are healing. Pay attention to your appearance again. Dress nicely, do your hair and makeup just to feel good about yourself again. Find and plan activities to look forward to, such as trips and outings to locations you've always wanted to visit or places where you find comfort and familiarity. Don't isolate yourself from the world. Join groups, take a course, learn something new, meet new people. Of course, I always recommend individual and group counseling. Get a pet or volunteer at a shelter. Spend time in nature. If you're still in the workforce, make sure you take your breaks and don't feel bad about taking sick days on the days you struggle the most. Take your vacation time and don't overwork yourself. This is the time when you're learning to respect yourself, your needs, and your boundaries. And the new you does not let anyone take advantage of your time and effort or your kindness. The new you protects your rights, your well-being, your time, and your newfound sense of self-worth fiercely. Don't be afraid to cancel plans when you really don't feel like company, as long as you are not making a habit of self-isolating for long periods of time, when deep down you know it would be beneficial for you to spend time with other people. Learn to listen to and trust your body's signals of what you need. If something feels off, don't do it. Unless, of course, there are fears holding you back from living your life fully. At that point, it's time for professional help. And at any time when you feel like you're in over your head, seek professional help. Especially when you are in a very dark place and you feel incapable of getting yourself out of it. If you feel completely hopeless and you are having thoughts of ending your life, seek help and ask your spirit team for help. Remember that the goal is not to completely let go of the grief and pain, as that in most cases will never happen. The goal is to learn to live life to the fullest in spite of the grief, and to have the capacity to cope with the grief as it comes up in a healthy manner. As the channeled song says, there is life after a broken heart. Allow yourself to believe that when you're struggling, you have the power to make it so. To look at grief from a spiritual perspective is sometimes helpful. Souls decide before they incarnate at what point in their life it would be best to cross over again. This decision is usually made with the goals of the specific lifetime in mind and the impact the soul and their death are to have on those around them. For instance, if a soul has chosen to exit this plane of existence when they are still young in earth years, or if they are choosing to die in a dramatic way, this is in order for the people in their life to learn certain lessons they wish to learn in this lifetime. Even though these souls have crossed over to the 5D, they are still around their loved ones who remain on the 3D plane to protect, encourage, and love them while they complete their journey in this incarnation. If someone you love walked out of your life, such as the ending of a relationship or an estrangement, this also happens as a lesson for the people involved. Also, often people are removed from your life in order for you to learn to focus on yourself especially if you are an overgiver, a people pleaser, someone who has an anxious attachment style pattern, and people who are codependent. Especially people on a spiritual journey experience the loss of most people they had any toxic attachments with in order for them to heal their own toxicity and grow into the spiritual leader they are meant to become in this lifetime. As the universe always seeks to balance everything, all and everyone you may have lost on this journey will be returned to you, either in a healed form or replaced by someone who could match your evolved frequency. And just know that no love has ever been given in vain. The love you give to others, even if it's not appreciated and valued at the time, will always come back to you in another form, often multiplied. Know that when you struggle, Spirit is always with you and waits for your permission to help you. Always ask. They cannot interfere otherwise, as you have free will. Now, guys, that's what I wrote down today. If you have any questions or comments, please comment below. I'm sending you love and light. If you're on a journey of grief at this time, I'm with you. I know what it's like. Let me know what's happening. If you want to reach out, I'm here. And I wish you all the best, and we'll talk again soon.